Every medium-sized generation gets its rite of passage fantasy kid. The 80s crowned Atreyu on a luck dragon, the 2000s produced Harry under a staircase, and wedged neatly between them lurks a ginger teenager in a robe 2 sizes too big, whose most devastating spell is weaponized sarcasm. That, fellow retro spelunkers, is Simon, reluctant hero of Adventure Soft's 1993 DOS adventure Simon the Sorcerer. Bizarre or classic? Both, in a Monty Python meets Monkey Island sort of way. Underrated? It charted above Sam & Max for several weeks on Britain's Amiga Top 10, yet Americans barely noticed. Overrated, only to LucasArts purists who insist puzzle design reached its zenith at Stan's used coffin shop. Fundamental? Absolutely. It proved voice-led comedy didn't have to sail from Marin County. Staffordshire could sling punchlines just as slick. Negligible? Only if you can ignore a game that makes teenage snark an executable mechanic. Rhetorical question, can a floppy disk deliver British irony by the megabyte? Self-answer, oh yes. And it does so with a grin wider than a Discworld turtle. Historical context. By late 1992, Britain's adventure scene was a boutique affair. Revolution's Lure of the Temptress flirted with AI innovation, and Horrorsoft's Elvira mixed parser RPG with B-movie cheesecake. Mike Woodruff, veteran of both outfits, re-emerged as Adventure Soft and set his sights on LucasArts' comedy crown. He drafted his teenage son Simon Woodruff as designer, reused the proprietary AGOS engine, and promised retailers a fantasy romp as funny as Monkey Island and unmistakably British. 11 DOS floppies, with audio compressed to ADL, hit UK shelves on the 2nd of December 1993, while a 9-disc Amiga version followed days later. A North American DOS release shipped through GT Interactive in spring 1994 with minimal fanfare. 2 years on, the studio pressed a CD-ROM talkie edition voiced almost entirely by Red Dwarf alumnus Chris Barrie, who legend says recorded every line during a 40-hour tea-fueled marathon. A single Red Book track by superstar Richard Joseph adorns the intro, but the in-game score is the handiwork of Paul Mokhtarzada with producer Mike Woodruff, their MIDI cues ducking around Barrie's rapid-fire delivery. The talkie disc landed smack between LucasArts' Full Throttle Hype Cycle and Sierra's Phantasmagoria FMV Parade. British magazines hailed it a homegrown national treasure, while PC Gamer UK nudged readers to upgrade from floppy if they wanted Barrie's line, "Wizards? Don't they play third base for the Mets?" delivered with proper exasperation. My own initiation happened on an XP Arcade 386 that lacked a sound card. Simon's voiceless eyebrow arches still killed. When a talkie copy arrived, the clerk deemed it the one adventure that made teenage sarcasm aspirational. Even then, the floppy run kept selling. Chart reports put Simon ahead of Day of the Tentacle on the Amiga Top 10 during January 1994, a feat that might say more about British hardware penetration than global sales, but still raises eyebrows. Mechanics, the 6-verb bar, and infinite snark. Once the magic wardrobe spits Simon and his terrier into Calypso's cottage, the AGOS interface appears. Walk, look it, pick up, use, give, talk to, and options. No separate sarcasm button, because sarcasm is Simon's default tone whenever you click talk to. Selecting his mouth cursor on a cauldron elicits, "Ugh, caldo espresso for trolls." Try to pick up a sleeping dwarf and he retorts, "I prefer my teddy bears less bearded." These context gags replace Sierra's instant death tradition with ego bruises. The floppy edition ships with 3,000 lines. The CD almost 6,000. Puzzle constellations. Adventure Soft glued Lucas-style inventory chains onto an open hub of fairy tale biomes. Early progress hinges on brewing swamp stew, so a woodcutter ogre clears your path. Ingredients involve enticing leeches off a frog, using salt stolen from a pub quiz, barbecuing a rat for garnish, and siphoning swamp water while a hovering woodworm heckles you. Every solution is mad, but internally logical, unlike Sierra's cat mustache fiascos. The mid-game leans into Monty Python farce. You must trick a druid conference into believing Stonehenge has moved. Later, you browbeat Tolkien dwarves about union rates to borrow their beard comb. ACOS's fast travel magic map spares you the backtracking malaise that haunted many VGA contemporaries. Quality of life and fail states. Simon can sprint via double-click exits and will auto-walk around minor obstructions. An engine tweak Adventure Soft introduced after playtesters ranted about Elvira's plotting pace. Deaths are rare. The worst punishment is circular sarcasm if you try use ladder with sunbeams. The only semi-soft lock is failing to pick parsley before a dragon incinerates it. Designers inserted a second parsley spawn in patch V 1.1 to be safe. Aesthetic and audio backgrounds, scanned from pencil sketches and meticulously colored in deluxe paint, still pop in DOSBox. Dappled forest light, roiling swamp bubbles, and the Wizard Tower's Escher stairs all show British cartoon lineage. Paul Mokhtarzada's score waltzes between jaunty recorders and ominous organ lines. Each area's leitmotif loops under 30 seconds to fit disk space, yet avoids annoyance. No small feat. The CD speech balances across Redbook channels, no compression, so Barrie's asides sometimes drown music. Purists toggle subtitles to savor each pun. Legacy and influence. Critical reception glowed. PC Zone 92%, Amiga Action 90%, Computer Gaming World in the US dropped to 3.5 out of 5, praising humor but wagging a finger at 2 British references. Sales numbers remain vague. Designer Woodruff only claimed a solid 6-figure total when asked by Retro Gamer in 2013. Chart data, however, shows the floppy sitting atop UK Amiga listings for 5 weeks, edging above Day of the Tentacle. Cultural impact quietly snowballed. Charles Cecil later cited Simon when defending full voice casts for Broken Sword. Dan Connors noted its dense pop culture tapestry while shaping Sam and Mac's episodic scripts. Fan translators ported Simon into Polish, Czech, and Spanish talkies, some using community dubbing funded on Kickstarter. ScumVM's 2004 support resurrected floppy editions on smartphones, leading to iOS and Android ports in 2009 by Mojo Touch. Sequels, Simon 2 refined art and introduced that famously opinionated talking hat, but 2002's Simon 3D stumbled with stiff polygons. After IP shuffles, small team follow-ups emerged. Chaos happens, who'd even want Contact? Yet none eclipsed the lightning in a diskette humor of the first. Why not a household name stateside? Marketing budgets were microscopic compared to LucasArts. Many jokes hinge on BBC tropes, and floppy installs in '94 still required mem-maker gymnastics. Yet ask any European point-and-click veteran, and Simon ranks shoulder to shoulder with Guybrush, ginger fringe, baggy robe, and a quip for every fourth wall. Closing paragraph plus score, booting. Simon the Sorcerer in 2025 is like cracking a forgotten Terry Pratchett paperback. Dog-eared yet dazzling, jokes twinkling with adolescent mischief and surprisingly sharp craft. Its puzzles tease but seldom troll. Its colors burn brighter than VGA has any right to, and Chris Barrie's performance remains a comedic clinic. Minor grievances, occasional pixel hunt, Brit-centric references that sail over non-UK heads barely dent the grin factor. 20 plus years on, Simon proves that the real magic lies not in wands or wardrobes, but in a teenager's inexhaustible supply of snark. Final verdict, 9.0 out of 10. It's not just a relic, it's a living spell. One that turns point and click into point and snicker and reminds us that saving the realm goes down easier with a side order of sarcasm.